Somewhere in the vast northern ocean between Iceland and Norway, Thorsteinn Ólafsson got himself involved in the biggest mystery of the Middle Ages by making an honest mistake. He turned his ship a few too many degrees west. His passengers would have preferred to arrive in sweet home Iceland, but instead they had to settle for an iceberg. They got nice and close. Closer. Closer. Wham! The wooden ship made a sound like a massive tree branch wrenching and splitting. There was no fair fight here between the ship and the iceberg. Frozen glacial water is older and far stronger. Damaged and doomed, the ship's direction was suddenly the same as the iceberg's. Wherever the currents pulled and the wind blew, there the ship went, adrift. Lucky for them, the winds and currents eventually blew them to land, albeit not the one they were hoping for. By winter, a loose and pretty all-encompassing term in the Arctic, the ship made it to the east village of Greenland, according to a short report written roughly 5 years later. The ship had arrived at the world's biggest island. From an administrative point of view, Thorsteinn had technically delivered his passengers to Iceland. This was Iceland's colony of southern Greenland. Despite rolling around the North and North Atlantic for months, the folks on board apparently continued to enjoy one another's company. Over the next 4 years, none of them chose to hop on a boat to Iceland, although it remains unclear whether there were any ships available to be hopped on. Thorsteinn, probably a decent guy despite his poor sense of direction, developed a crush on a lady passenger, Sigríður Björnsdóttir. So he asked her uncle for her hand, and they decided to marry inside that massive stone church the Greenlanders so prided themselves on. When Sigríður Björnsdóttir walked inside the stone church one calm September morning, her future looked as steady as the turn of the seasons. The grand arched window of the majestic fieldstone church cast light onto the crowd of many noble men, both foreign and local, as noted by local authorities. With a yes and a handshake, the two happy castaways were presented as husband and wife. The wedding certificate signed by Greenland's pastor, Páll Hallvarðsson, was later delivered to the Bishop of Iceland and stored in Skálholt for centuries, until some historians dug it out and did a double-take at the date. September 16th, 1408. This was the last ever day on record in Eric the Red's Greenland. Shortly thereafter, following roughly 400 years of Norse settlement, the entire vibrant community disappeared, vanished. To this day, no one knows exactly why. Icelanders in the Viking Age had discovered Greenland in the search for more land and had turned its stock of walrus and narwhals into a global enterprise. Hungry for wood and wheat, the Icelandic Greenlanders had then launched even farther west, and thereby discovered sailing routes from Europe to North America 500 years before Columbus. Greenland hadn't just hosted a single flimsy settlement, it had been the burgeoning site of a trade empire, a crucial link between the raw resources of North America and the powerful Viking civilization in Norway. Archaeological evidence today suggests a far bigger presence than we'd initially assumed from written records. So how did a community of thousands, after 5 centuries, simply disappear without a trace? How could an entire island nation become a ghost town? And what was it like in that early America? To unravel the mystery, we'll follow Iceland's 3 most famous explorers, Eric, Leif, and Guðríður, through the bizarre, violent, and lucky events that shaped their lives.